Alright, so here we are, we're at the heat treat stage. We've got our knife, we've got a profile, we've got a ricasso, we've got our holes drilled, all in the soft metal before we heat treat. Everything's profiled out the way we want it to be. We're going to put it in our little homemade oven. Not really oven, but a forge. So what I did was I got a coffee can, a number 10 coffee can, and you mix sand and plaster half and half, put it right in the coffee can, and then you have a hole poured out in the coffee can. I'll show you here. And there's your little forge. You're going to stick the knife in here. Your propane, well, I'm using MAP gas because it burns a lot hotter and a lot faster. Now you get you some nice screws. Cost me about, I don't know, 20 bucks maybe to make this. And any forge that you buy is going to cost you upwards of $100 or more. This thing works for what I do with it. Fits these nice small knives. As I get into production of maybe some larger knives, I'll make a double size of this and still won't cost me more than 40 bucks. So we get everything set up here. We get our MAP gas cylinder in there. Everything is set up. Now we've got our safety equipment. We've got some nice heat resistant leather gloves. We've got a magnet. So key to the magnet is once you get the metal hot, you pull it out, and if the metal is not does not have any magnet, I don't know what you call it. If it's not magnetized anymore, then you're going to dip it in your oil. What I'm using, believe it or not, is peanut oil from turkey fryer. Reuse, reuse, reuse. So you heat it up. You want it to be at least 160 degrees before you quench your metal. If you quench it in the cold oil or anything colder than that, it could lead to cracks, warps, or bends in your knife. So we're going to crank everything up. We're going to get it hot. And we are going to heat treat a knife. So I just take my handy dandy vice grips, clip them to the end. That gives me a way to stick it inside and out of the forge. So let's fire it up. That simple with a MAP torch. Get our gloves on. Get our other camera rolling. And we'll take a nice seat right here in front of the camera. So as you see, it's pretty easy. There's one more step. You're going to get your file. You see how that file just skates right across? It doesn't grab, doesn't dig in. That's a successful heat treat. So now we're going to take all this scale from the oil and we're going to sand it off. It doesn't have to be polished or shiny. We're going to sand it down, so we got to put it in the oven. And I got me a little toaster oven. We're going to heat it to 400 degrees and we're going to soak these for an hour. We're going to take them out after an hour. We're going to let them cool to air temperature. We're going to put them back in for another hour, and after that I'll show you what they're supposed to look like when they come out of the final stage of heat treat. So after you get them out of the heat treat, out of the soaking oven, they're going to look like this. It's what they call it is like a wheat color. Hope the camera's picking that up. It's kind of bluish and wheat, and you know that it's brought the metal back to where it's supposed to be at. I don't know what the process is called. I think it's called annealing. It's not annealing when you take it from heat treat out of the oil and put it in the oven. It's tempering. You're trying to temper that steel and draw the molecules back out and make it a little bit more pliable and even out the molecules in the steel so that the hardness is the same all the way around. If you don't do that, you're going to have a very brittle blade. You'll stick it in a vise to do your stress test and it'll snap right off. It's definitely hardened and it's ready to go. So now we're going to do our finish grinding. We're going to get all the scale off, all this wheat color. We're going to take the We're going to clean up all these grind lines, these real heavy grind lines from that thick heavy grit belt. We're going to clean and shine up everything on here. Once we get all that done, then we're going to go into handle making stage. So we're about ready to go. I'm going to start get on the grinder and I'm going to start grinding these up and get them all cleaned up.